Welcome to Joyful Gathering Spiritual Center. This is our Saturday Night Live on Facebook, and later this week we'll be up on YouTube. So I'm glad that you joined us this evening. My name is Reverend Margaret Palagye. I am the founding minister at Joyful Gathering Spiritual Center. And like I said, I am so happy that you joined us this evening. So we have the service on Facebook Live and on YouTube. We have classes on Zoom. I'm going to tell you about those in a minute. And we have Wednesday night meditation and prayer. And that's on Zoom Wednesday nights. All of this information is on joyfulgathering.org. So check out our website. So we are offering this meditation and prayer. And remember, we have a lot of ministers and practitioners whose names are on that website who you can call for individual counseling if you would like to have that done for you. Or you can just join us. It's open to everyone. All right, so let me tell you the name of our two classes. The first one is The Science of Getting Rich with our practitioner Dana Smith, and the other one is Abundance and the Dynamic Law of Attraction, which is by myself and Reverend Rita Biancasino. That begins April 20th. Dana's class, The Science of Getting Rich, begins March 4th, so that's coming right up. So let's take a deep breath together. Yes, let's just join in this atmosphere of love. Oh, let's breathe in infinite possibilities. And exhale. And so as we have brought ourselves to the center, I'd like to begin this evening's talk with the title, which is, What's Karma Have to Do with It? So this is a really good one. Law of Cause and Effect. Tonight we bring our Circle of Life theme to a close. It's been a very powerful month as we looked at the idea of the circle, the cycle of life as an ongoing series of hellos and goodbyes, beginnings and endings, and yes, life and death. All of it is part of the circle, the cycle of life. And we realize that this spiral is ever expanding, ever transcending, and ever growing upward and outward. This is the nature of the divine, this divine energy. Or to quote Dr. Ernest Holmes, who we've been using all month, the spiral of life is upward, and progressive expansion is its law. And there are no breaks in its continuity, no breaks in the circle of life. Our theme was inspired by lessons from The Lion King, so we've been using that all month. Each week we have explored the upward spiral of life, and today we concluded with the question, what's karma got to do with it? And yeah, there might have been a little inspiration by Tina Turner in there, but this is a great talk on the law of cause and effect. So before we explore that question, we better define karma so that we're all on the same page. Now, first of all, karma is defined in the strictest Eastern sense as action, seen as bringing upon oneself inevitable results, good, bad, and either experienced in this life or in the next. We might use these words to define karma: fate, destiny, providence, kismet, which is fate and destiny. In religious science, New Thought, though, is slightly different. Ernest Holmes wrote this: the karmic law is not kismet, it is not fate, but cause and effect. And I love that. Cause and effect. Everything is cause and effect. The bottom line is this: karma is the experience we have in this moment as a result of choices, conscious and unconscious choices that we have made in a previous moment. Now, it may not be immediately preceding that moment, and it may not be a direct line that we can trace, but be assured that karma is cause and effect. And we're going to really deepen into cause and effect this evening. In his book, The 7 Spiritual Laws of Success, Deepak Chopra wrote this: whether you like it or not, everything that is happening in this moment is a result of choices you've made in the past. The Persian poet Khalil Gibran said it this way: we choose our joys and sorrows long before we experience them. And Ernest Holmes tells us, the law of cause and effect works sometimes with apparent slowness, but always with sureness, which means it always works. So when we explore the concept of karma, the thing to talk about really is what choices are we making? What choices are we making? Are they moving toward us and bringing us forward, expanding and growing on our path of ever unfolding divinity? Or are they keeping us limited and small? Are they keeping us limited or small? Perhaps even circling back upon itself, we get to make these choices in life, in all situations, in all experiences. In fact, our choices don't just affect our experiences, they affect the experiences of the whole. Because of course we're all interconnected. We know that. That's our spiritual teachings. We are in this unity, this oneness of all life, this circle of life. We see this very clearly in the story of the Lion King. The lion cub, Simba, made the choice to leave his home and his family and to abdicate his rightful place as king of Pride Rock. Because he did not take his rightful place, his uncle Scar did. Under Scar's rule, the community experienced mass chaos, and life in Pride Rock was dying away. What a powerful illustration of karmic ripple effect that occurs when one person does not take his or her rightful place in that circle of life. So let's spend a few moments then looking at the idea of the choices we make. First, we'll talk about the unconscious and conscious choices we make today that impact tomorrow. And then we'll look at 2 ways to make choices today that can either shift the direction of the effects we are experiencing from past choices. We don't have to be stuck in past choices. This is really important, and I want us all to really understand that. So first, choices made today, subconscious or consciously. We are constantly making choices. Ernest Holmes wrote this in his book: we cannot live a choiceless life. Every day, every moment, every second, there is a choice. Either it's conscious choice or it's by default. But we are always, always, always making choices. And he also wrote this: the power of choice with which we have been endowed is either the greatest blessing or our greatest curse. Properly understood, he said, it can lift us to the heights. Misunderstood, it can drag us to the depths. We are free to choose anything which we wish. We have that. We have choice. But we must accept the responsibility from our choices, because the immutable law will create our experiences according to what we think and feel and do. A lot of us make choices unconsciously, and therefore we don't think they are choices. Oh, I didn't have a choice in the matter. Maybe we've heard someone say that. I didn't have a choice. We always have choice. It might not look like it, but we do. So everything is a choice, even if it's unconscious manifestation. And here's an example. If I were to insult you, be insensitive, stand you up, or do something else that you didn't like, you would most likely be upset. If I were to pay you a compliment, offer you a courtesy or a thank you, you would most likely be pleased or flattered. However, I could insult you, be insensitive, stand you up, or do something else such as that, and you could not be offended. I could give you a compliment, offer you a courtesy or a thank you, and that didn't affect you either. And if you took our 4 agreements class, which we've been teaching for so many years, then you would understand, don't take anything personally. Even great compliments, we don't take them personally, right? So that's just another lesson in life, and it's not easy to do if someone insults you. But that's our choice. That is our choice. In each instant, you make a choice, unconscious though it surely was. Nonetheless, it was a choice. There's no getting out of that. Even though we are infinite choice makers, we have become bundles of conditioned reflexes, haven't we? I feel like that sometimes. You just immediately react, don't even respond to something that pushes a button that you didn't even know was there. It's an immediate response. And the thing is, we do have control if we would just take that breath and just step back, and we can choose how to respond. These conditioned reflexes are like Pavlovian conditioning. Pavlov is, of course, famous for demonstrating that if you give a dog something to eat every time you ring a bell, soon the dog starts to salivate when you just ring the bell, because he has associated one stimulus with the other. And we're like that too. Yeah? We're like that sometimes too. Most of us, as a result of conditioning, have repetitive and predictable responses. Our reactions seem to be automatically triggered by people and circumstances. And we forget that these are still choices that we are making in every moment, every single moment. We are simply making these choices unconsciously. If you step back for a moment and witness the choices you are making as you make those choices, then in just this act of witnessing, you take the whole process from unconscious to conscious, because you are witnessing yourself responding and reacting. And the more you get into the spiritual teachings, the more that you find yourself doing it either right on the spot or very shortly thereafter. And that we know all of our choices will have an effect. That's the way the law works. One of the main topics that we teach here at Joyful Gathering Spiritual Center is becoming aware while making our choice. The awareness is our waking up to how powerful we truly are. When we make a choice, any choice, you can ask yourself this: what are the consequences of this choice that I am about to make? Will it bring happiness to myself and to those around me? If the answer is yes, then go right ahead and do it. Nothing wrong with that. That's a great choice. If the answer is no, that choice can bring distress either to you or to those around you. If you ask yourself these questions, you can make that conscious decision, because that's not really where you want to wind up, in an upsetting, argumentative situation. And that's what happens when we just respond unconsciously. Realize that your future place in the circle of life is generated by the choices you are making in every single moment of your life. The more you bring the choices into your level of your conscious awareness, the more you will make those choices that will create a positive, empowered future, both for you and for those around you. So, how to address the effects of past choices? This is how we're different from the Eastern definition of karma. So we move on to the second idea of choices, about past karma and how it is influencing you right now. And here's the really cool thing. If you don't like it, you can change it. If you don't like it, you can change it. Ernest Holmes says, change your thinking, change your life. And he also wrote this: we may change the trend of causation, which has been set in motion at any time we decide to do so. He also wrote this. I love this. What thought has done, thought can undo. What thought has done, thought can undo. If it is your desire to grow, to expand, to be more aligned and engaged in the circle of life, then there are two things you can do about past karma. You can either transform it or transcend it. So transforming your karma. This is a very interesting process in which you ask yourself, I love to do this, what can I learn from this experience? What can I learn from this experience? What message is the universe trying to give me? And how can I make this experience productive and useful to myself and my fellow humans also? Always we ask, what can I learn? I learned that so long ago, and it's now automatic. What can I learn from this experience? It might not happen in that second, but it happens, as I said before, shortly thereafter. Always, there's a lesson in every single choice that we make that leads to an effect. Cause is choice, effect is the result of that choice. Deepak Chopra wrote in the 7 Spiritual Laws of Success, by doing this, you look for the seed of opportunity and then tie that seed of opportunity with your life, with your life's purpose. This allows you to transmute karma to a new expression. You haven't really gotten rid of your karma, but you are able to take a karmic episode and create a positive karma out of it. New cause. New cause creates new effects. Remember, what you have thought, what thought has produced, you can think something else and undo it. We are not locked into any experiences. These are all choices. As Simba, back to Simba, struggled with whether he should go back to Pride Rock. He spoke earnestly to the wise baboon, Rafiki. He said, I'll have to go back and face my past. I've been running from my past for so long. Then Rafiki smacks him on the side of the head with a stick. Ouch, cries Simba. What was that for? Rafiki laughs and says, it doesn't matter. It's in the past. But it still hurts, Simba says. I know the past can hurt, replies Rafiki. But the way I see it, you have two ways to look at the past. Either you can run from it or you can learn from it. You can run from it or you can learn from it. With that, Rafiki again swats Simba with this stick. But this time Simba ducks. And it is in that moment that he decides to return to Pride Rock and take his rightful place as the king of that town. Now that moves us into transcending your karma. To transcend karma is to become independent of it. The way to transcend karma is to turn to the divine, to turn to God. To remember who you are, a child, an heir to the kingdom of good. That is who each and every one of us is ultimately. This is what we believe in our spiritual teachings. Do that continually and regularly, turning it over to a higher power, to the God of your understanding, to divinity, and allowing that divine light energy to take over and transform it, because the universe, God, will always support you. Absolutely. It becomes like washing a dirty piece of cloth in fresh, clear water. You scrub, some of the stain comes out, and you scrub again, and some more comes out. You keep washing it again and again. And each time it gets a little cleaner. You wash or transcend the seeds of your karma every time you open to God. This, of course, is done through the practice of prayer, meditation, silence, all the beautiful spiritual teachings that we talk about and we do at Joyful Gathering. These are the spiritual truths we talk about. These are tools. These are all tools for us to use. So Ernest Holmes, in Creative Mind, wrote this. Do you realize that your karma is nothing but your false thinking? And that the only way to escape it is to think the truth. And that brings in the higher law. When the greater comes in, the lesser leaves, because there is no longer anything to give life to it. The lesser leaves and the higher comes in. So I'd like to conclude this talk this evening with another reading from this thing called You by Dr. Ernest Holmes, my favorite book. He writes this. The marvelous teachings of Jesus are statements of the great law of cause and effect. Laws that produce justice without judgment. The inevitable results of laws that work with mathematical certainty. He said that not one jot or tittle of it can be changed. All the poetry, wit, knowledge, and art of the ages cannot alter the fact that love alone begets love. Peace alone attracts peace. Only that which goes forth in joy can return in gladness. This is Ernest Holmes. Give and you shall be given. It's the way it works. You need not force or coerce, but you must obey the spiritual law if you want to have happiness. If you can see God in everything, then God will look back at you through everything. And when the time comes that nothing goes forth from you other than that which you would be glad to have returned, then you will have reached your heaven. I will add, then you would have found your place in the circle of life. So let's just know that we are making choices in our lives to serve our highest good. Join me, please. Blessings, my friends.